Let's take our first look at Boris Title Studio. Now we're going to use BCC Title Studio directly on the timeline rather than as a standalone application. So we'll do what we normally do when we're adding a title. I'm going to create up a new video track and come into 3D Objects. Then you see BCC Title Studio here. And I'm going to apply this to a filler layer just by dragging it into the empty V2. And I can then trim that up as I need to. And if I make V2 active now, you'll see we have a nice little Boris Effects text saying we've got an effect on there. So let's go into effect mode and we can do one of two things. We can either launch the Title Studio UI directly, or we can use the effects browser to take a look at some of the preset effects that we've got here. And of course, it's possible to create and save your own presets. So across your whole project, you can keep your text layout consistent. We'll start off with something quite straightforward like this 2-line lower third. And in our preview window, I can either scrub through or I can hit play and play this through. And the first time it plays these through, it's going to cache it into RAM for us. So it takes a little bit of time to play through the first time. But once it's cached into RAM, we can then see it through in real time. And we click on the first button over here, we can take the render quality down a little bit so that as we're previewing stuff out, maybe a 16th is a little bit too small, take it down to a quarter. So as we're previewing stuff out, it's going to do the caching just a little bit faster to begin with. And it will give you an idea of what the effect is going to be. Probably one of the most useful things you can do with this text, though, directly within the FX browser, is you can update the text whilst remaining in this simple interface. So if all we need to do is change what's going on up at the in the text itself, I can just come down to my text 1, select Boris Effects, and type in something like Green Week, hit insert text here, and under text 2, I can now type in, this is the subtitle bit. And if I hit return, I can do multiple lines. Here is a multiple line. And once we've inserted this text in here, if you wanted to change that for something else, so let's take a different lower third, it will still keep the text as we just inputted it, even after we changed the layout of the template. Back into our editing interface. So if I play this back, you'll see that we have an animation going on at the front. And as it goes off, we fade out as well. So it's got an animation taking us in and taking us out. Let's see what happens when we extend this out now. So I'm just going to make this a little bit longer, a couple of seconds longer. And let's play this back one more time. So now you'll see that even though I've made this longer, the animation when it comes in and the animation when it goes out is exactly the same length as it was before. We're going to be having a look at why this happens in a later tutorial when we look at rigid runs. Without the rigid runs, what would happen is that the whole thing would be stretched out in time. So the animation in and out would have a different length. At any time, we can come back in here and go back into the effects browser and we can update the text that we were working on. And I can change this text. So if I didn't want this to say Green Week, I'm going to have this saying Blue Week. Just click on Insert Text, hit Apply, and that will now update for us in the main timeline. Now, if I wanted to add further effects to this, say for example, I wanted to add a light sweep or even a bit of blur coming in at the front here. Let's see what happens when I try to do that. So I'm going to go to my effects bin, go to my BCC blur and put a directional blur on top. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key or the Option key on Mac and let that one go.